Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome. So, let me just start out by saying if you are new to me, my name is Regina and I'm an LCSW. That's licensed clinical social worker, in some spaces, licensed certified social worker. And this is my integrative health show. And so I bring topics to you that addresses your health in multiple ways. A lot of people think that it's just diet and exercise, but in order for you to have optimal health, in order for you to improve whatever your health markers are in this life, you're going to need more than diet and exercise. And so I bring the total package to you. So that's my brief introduction to you. Today, we're going to get into a conversation that resonates with a lot of people. I was actually on a call yesterday with a young lady who was in a stressful situation, and so a lot of times people feel like they don't have anywhere to go. So pulling up on Fridays to this clinical space, to this conversation, to where you can receive news that you can use, take back to your workspace, take back to your family, and do something with it. So it's not just about taking the information in. My goal is to provide you with tangible information that you can actually use. So today we're talking the REST framework and heart health. Type in the comments the REST framework and heart health. Today, it's not just about sleep. We're really talking about a physiological restoration. Your body needs a true physiological restoration. And there are just some simple things. I say simple things. We're going to use this REST framework. So we're going to keep it to where you can remember this. So you'll be able to, again, apply this to your daily life. Okay. And so let me say this. In the United States, I actually posted the other day, and so I'm going to share it again with you all. In the United States, we see such a high rate of hypertension. And so we're talking rest and cardiovascular health, rest and heart health. And so if you live in Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, West Virginia, Michigan, Kentucky, or Missouri, you find yourself in the top 10. You find yourself in the top 10. Whew. Here's the hard statistic to share. Those 10 states are leading the nation with heart related deaths. And let me say this. If you or someone you know and or love has a cardiovascular issue, high blood pressure, have had a stroke, and they're still here, you're going to want to be a part of this conversation. It's not just medication. I want you to take your medication as prescribed. It's not just your diet. You need to make those modifications as you've been recommended to. It's not just your movement. You need to move to your capacity. All those things are true, and you need to rest. So that's the conversation that we're going to have. And so thank you for coming in this morning. We're just making a few pivots, right? Because this is not just about inspirational information. You really walk away with some tangible things that you're going to be able to use. And so we see hearts that are physically enlarged. And when you think about heart health, again, we primarily think about those two or three things. Medication. Let me get some medication in these people. Let me put you on a let me put you on a low sodium diet, and then I need you to move. All that is true. But the additional part of that we do not give enough conversation to, and that is we tend to carry so much, and we tend to carry what was never meant to be held on to. If you're with me, type that in the chat. Sometimes we carry more than we were meant to carry, and we do it for extended periods of time. So, when you live in a state or you operate in a state of high alert all the time, your heart gets into this place of I'm stuck on. Your heart shouldn't be stuck on 24/7. What happens is when your heart is stuck on high alert all the time, some people like to say, I just do better under stress. I just work better under pressure. No, you don't. No, you don't, because what you don't see is what's happening on the inside. And those are those cardiovascular things that are taking place. Couple of things that are happening to you on the inside, right? Number one, your cortisol is high. And so we all know what cortisol does to our body. You're thinking about that stubborn belly fat. When you have that stubborn belly fat, that's what we call it. It leads to fat around fat around our organs. And so when you have fat around your organs, that causes problems with your blood circulation. And so your arteries begin to constrict. Your arteries begin to constrict. And let me say this, as one who live a whole food plant-based lifestyle, no amount of kale can outrun a nervous system that does not know how to rest. I'm leaning into this rest because it is such an underrated value in our health. That's one of the greatest predictors of your health, is whether or not you are getting proper rest. So today we're going to break down the rest framework. And then next week, when you come back starting in April, we're going to lean into a new framework that's going to really help you to understand diet over DNA. Because a lot of these things, our high blood pressure, our diabetes, even high cholesterol, people like to believe that, you know what, this runs in my family. And so that's what we've been told. That's what we've been conditioned to believe. Howsoever, your diet, your lifestyle, hence lifestyle interventions, hence lifestyle experiences, are what can make some changes for you, or what can actually move your health markers. So I'm going to state that again. No amount of kale, no amount of spinach, no amount of black beans, no amount of fruits and vegetables can outrun a nervous system that's under attack. And when you're not resting properly, your nervous system is under attack and you don't even know it. So I'm gonna challenge you to check your blood pressure today. Oh, everybody. I'm gonna challenge you to check your blood pressure. Sometimes people are afraid because they know the truth. And so you can't run from the truth. One of the reasons why they call a heart attack a silent killer, because you're walking around in a state and you don't even know what's going on. It don't all the time show up. You don't all the time have these symptoms. Sometimes something just happens, or so we think. A heart attack does not slip up on us, but this is no judgment. I just want you to be aware. I want you to be aware. Heart attack and strokes, they do not slip. They do not. Good morning. Thank you all so much for joining. And share this out and share this out. Thank you. Hey, good morning over here on YouTube, Facebook. Thank y'all so much. And LinkedIn. Thank y'all so much. And so we're having this conversation because all too often we sit in we're in this space of this responsibility, great responsibility, whether you are caring for yourself in a household, meaning you are a spouse to someone, meaning you are a parent, or you are a caregiver, or you have a leading role at work. We have so many responsibilities and we carry such a heavy weight on our shoulders, and we carry a heavy weight in our hearts. That's the part that we don't talk about. That's the part that you're not going to go in the workplace and say, you know what, I got all this heaviness on me. Them people going to be looking at you like, girl, you clock in and let's go to work. Clock in and let's go to work. So you got to have these conversations, honest conversations, and not just have the conversation. What can we do while we're in this space, while we're in these spaces, to promote better health, to promote a better opportunity? One, to reduce my risk of a cardiac event. And for those that don't know what a cardiac event is, that is a heart attack, that is a stroke, right? So we want to reduce our risk. Type that in the comments. We're pulling up. We want to reduce our risk for cardiovascular events, a heart event, right? And so everyone on this call, everyone on watching this video, whether you're watching LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, everyone on here know and or love someone that has heart disease. Everybody. And so, having these conversations that you take back and you share, whether it's in your personal sphere of influence, or whether you go into work and dropping little markers up, putting little notes up on things people can do, some little tangible things people can do. We like to leave notes of encouragement. I want you to start leaving this framework on their desk, breaking down this framework, put the framework on the refrigerator so that people can move a little bit different. Because when you hear what I just said, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, West Virginia, Michigan, Kentucky, and Missouri, the top 10 states leading the nation in heart deaths. Pausing on purpose. Let that sink in. Drop that in the comments. Do you know and or love somebody that has a cardiovascular issue, high blood pressure, or have had a stroke, and they're still here? If so, there is something that we can do about it. Beyond the medication, yes, take your medication. Beyond the nutrition, yes, change your diet, change what you're eating. You need to. We all need to. I'm a work in progress myself. 3, yes, we need to move, absolutely, to your capacity. And then 4, I want to invite you into this rest space. If you've been following me any length of time, I speak a lot about rest because, again, we show up in workspaces, we show up in our families, we show up with our responsibilities, and we take it on, and we take it on, and we take it on, and we take it on until we come to a place where our health is compromised, but we don't see it because that's just how we operate. It's normal. We've normalized burning the midnight oil. We've normalized getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're not laying back down to like 10 o'clock, 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Your body needs 7 to 8 hours of rest. Trust, but verify. Go verify this information with a reliable source. And I'm not talking about TikTok, okay? I am not talking about TikTok. Hey, LaWanda, one of my good physician buds, the Tatty MD, she posted yesterday. What's up? She posted yesterday that the question is, why are medical doctors trying to be content creators? And I love this post so much. Of course, I reshared it to my story, so make sure you go and catch it and follow the Tatted MD. Let me tell you what she said. The reason why medical doctors, medical doctors are starting to create content for you, starting to create content for me, because y'all pulling up, getting all y'all information from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube from people who are not doctors, people who are not healthcare practitioners. Your girl, I'm not a doctor, but I am a licensed healthcare practitioner. There's a difference in you going to TikTok, getting this recipe for something that's going to help your blood pressure from somebody that does not have any credentials at all, who's saying they're this, that, and the what, and the third, and you don't even know what you're taking or the impact of it, right? And so that's why many medical doctors that you're seeing on the social medias are popping up sharing content that's relatable to you so that you can get the information from an actual doctor. Stop pulling up. I'm telling y'all, stop pulling up on TikTok. Everything go viral on TikTok because it grab your attention and you think it's going to work because they don't told you it worked for them. That's why doctors are starting to create content. And so, as a healthcare practitioner, a licensed clinical social worker, I'm a healthcare practitioner. And so, I want you to understand this. I want you to trust but verify the information that you're out there getting. Trust check the credentials of the people that you're getting your information from. That's a freebie on a Friday. Let me get back into my lesson. Today, we're talking the REST framework. That's one of several frameworks that I use when working with my clients, when working with organizations to help mitigate and reduce this thing called stress in the workplace and stress in your life. Type that in the comment. If you or someone you know and or love have cardiovascular issues, you need to understand the REST framework. Type REST in the comment, REST. And let me break this down for you right quick. Don't have to be long to be strong. I want to keep it pointed and keep it focused for you. Type that in the comments. REST. REST. And so the R, here's what I want you to hear and hear very well. When we're talking about all the weight that we carry, now I'm not talking about physical weight. If you are a parent, if you are a sibling, if you are a caregiver, an entrepreneur, the CEO, the executive director, the president, the supervisor, baby, if you are the cleaning technician, if you are the dietary person who's providing other people meals, you're carrying weight of all those around you. So I'm not talking about physical weight. People like, oh, I'm carrying a lot of weight, I need to lose weight. I'm not talking about that type of weight. The weight that I'm talking about is the invisible labor of listening to and taking on everybody else's circumstances and situations. That's the weight I'm talking about. You're carrying so much weight. You're carrying the responsibility if you are a parent, whether you are operating in a two-person household or a one-person household, you're carrying a lot of weight, especially if you have little ones, or especially if you got them teenagers, okay? So they are some beautiful people, and you're carrying the weight of being responsible for multiple things in multiple circumstances. So let me just say this as we're listening, the R, I want you to type this in the comment. How do I learn how to release the weight and regulate the beat, the heartbeat? How do I release the weight? That is the R in the rest framework. Release the weight. As a social worker, I worked in state government for 28 years. Correction, 27 years worked. And I had a year worth of time, so I retired what could be perceived as a year early. And so I'm in my full entrepreneur experience right now. I retired from state government last year, June the 30th, a significant day for me. So make sure you pull up June 30th this year. However, over the years, what I saw and what I continue to see is compassion fatigue. You carry so much. You carry so much. I have a question. How do I learn how to release the weight? I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you're here. That's what we're going to be walking through here today, and as you continue to stay coming into this space. So, compassion fatigue, honey, let me tell you all, sir, ma'am, sir, I like to use that language to get your attention. Sir, ma'am, sir, compassion fatigue is a very real thing. You get exhausted because you are carrying so much emotional weight. You're carrying emotional labor. So you don't see that. You don't see the blood pressure going up. You're not always going to get a headache. You may feel like you're tired just because you're going through, because that's just who you are, because you are a top performer. People come to you because you're the go-to person. But here's the thing. It comes to the point where the go-to person has no one to go to. And so you're carrying that weight. Not only are you carrying the emotional labor of those that you're in community with, you're carrying generational weight. You're carrying your children's stress, your mom's stress, your father's stress, your auntie's stress. You're the friend that everybody come to in the workplace. You're the one that knows how to pull it all together when it don't seem like it's going to come together. They're coming to you every single time. And that's not a bad thing. However, your heart is literally pumping harder to carry the load that does not belong to you. When we're talking about releasing the weight, learning how to, if you're in a work environment, before I retired, for 2 years, I was in a particular programmatic area. And when I came on board to that team, I said, "Look, I'm gonna develop you." They were so tickled. They was like, "We too old to be developed." A couple of them like, "We too old to be developed." But no, no, because I knew I wouldn't be there forever. Didn't know I was gonna leave when I left. However, my point is, when you develop people around you, they may not do it the way that you do it. Your children may not wash them dishes the way that you want them washed. They may not iron their clothes the way that you want them to iron. However, if you keep doing everything, you're going to keep being exhausted. Your teenager may want to cook something, some macaroni and cheese in the microwave. We're not talking about cheese today, but if they want to cook that macaroni and cheese and you get all bent out of shape, listen, give them the opportunity so that you can start to release the weight. We like to carry this badge of honor that I can do all this. Now I understand. I do understand. Honey, if y'all in the South, you in the Bible Belt, y'all, we be hollering, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But he also said, cast all your cares. Baby, she said, get out of my house. Listen, I understand. I understand 100%. I understand 100%. We want things done a certain way. And baby, we're going to pray that scripture on that thing. I can do all things who Christ who strengthens me. You know. But at the same time, do be reminded that Jesus went away and rested quite a bit. Quite a bit. So much so. So much so, right? So understand that we're not designed to carry all this weight. When you develop and train those around you, release it. Give them an opportunity. Get back in touch with your humanity and allow them to err. It's not about perfection. In order for you to shift your health markers, some things are going to have to be good enough. Oh, I know y'all did not want to hear that. But some things are going to have to be good enough. Not perfect, but good enough. Drop that in the comments. Good enough. It does not have to be perfect. The report does not have to be perfect, but the report needs to be good enough. Your children ironing, good enough. Your spouse doing the laundry, good enough. Your significant other, your partner doing the laundry, good enough. Somebody else in the household cooking, good enough. Type good enough in the comments. Good enough. We have all this stress, all this undue pressure because we are perfectionists. There's a difference in excellence and perfection. May I submit to you that doing it to the best of your capacity, that's excellence. Being nitpicky and critical, that's stress inducing. That ain't even perfection. You put so much into that thing that you don't even enjoy it because you stressed out. Let me run the playback for you all that like to host for the holidays and get so stressed out. You get so stressed out. You want to host the holidays. We're going to run this playback. You want to host the holidays. You want everybody at your house. You get all worked up. You don't even enjoy hosting because you in such a panic because everything has to be perfect. May I submit to you, when people come to your house, they're not coming for all the perfection because they've been invited a lot of places. They're coming to your house because they appreciate how you make them feel. Yeah. They appreciate how you make them feel so they enjoy the environment. May I submit to you to take some of that pressure off, Mr. and Mrs. Host with the most, who be in a panic and a tizzy, blood pressure up. And just a freebie on a Friday, in case y'all did not know, a lot of heart attacks and strokes happen around the holidays. Just so y'all know. Check the record, trust but verify. Let's continue in this rest framework. I want to ask you this question. What is one thing that you're holding on to that isn't yours to carry? What is one thing that you're holding on to that isn't yours to carry? See, for a long time, I was holding on to the responsibility of some things that I had to have a hard conversation with somebody about. because I was the go-to person, right? Oh yeah. But I had to learn to have difficult conversations, crucial conversations. So, what is one thing that you're holding on to that is not yours to carry? Type that in the comments. What is one thing? I don't need you to tell me the one thing. That's what I want you to reflect on. When we're talking about the R, releasing the weight so that you can regulate the beat, we want to regulate your heartbeat. You got to start releasing some things. So that's the first thing I want you to do. The R is releasing the weight. So as you're thinking about that, what is one thing that you're carrying that is not yours to carry? Let's roll into this E. Let's talk about this biological clock. The E in the rest framework is I want you to establish rhythms. E is for establishing rhythms. When we operate in fight or flight all the time, your nervous system never gets an opportunity to reset. Hey, the Tatted MD just popped up, y'all. Tatted MD, I just told them about the post that you made yesterday, okay? Why MDs are out here being content creators. It's not so much that y'all trying to be content creators. Oh, I let them know, Tatted MD, that stop getting all that stuff off TikTok, Instagram, taking all this stuff, you don't know what you're doing. Real medical practitioners are pulling up where the people are. Y'all on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So now the physicians are coming out there. We coming to get y'all. Licensed practitioners are coming to get y'all because we know where y'all at. So Tatted MD is in the house, y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all shout out Amanda Rice on here. That is my Tatted MD. Make sure you all go follow her. She will keep you straight from an inspirational standpoint, as well as just dropping you news that you can use again about your health. We're after your health over here. Type this in the comment as we continue in establishing your rhythms. Type this in the comment. If it's preventable, then it's reversible. If it's preventable, then it's reversible. I see a comment here that I cannot overlook. And I posed a question from the release the weight. It said, what is one thing that you're carrying that is not yours to carry? And I have a comment over here on Facebook that says the responsibility of carrying other coworkers' work and fear of the work not getting done. So I want to challenge you on that, to have a conversation with that person if you have not, and maybe you have. Because the more you add on to yourself, the more you do, the more they're going to expect you to do. So on Facebook, the more you do, the more they're going to expect you to do. The less that person does, the less they're going to do. Why? Because they know you're going to do it. There is no accountability for them. And so then your blood pressure is going up. You continue to have emotional toil, as you say, showing up in that space, feeling some kind of way. You don't even want to go to work because you don't want to be responsible for them people. But guess what? We have responsibilities at the house. We got these good little bills to pay. So we're going to show up and we're going to do the extra work at the cost of our health. I want to challenge that. So we're going to continue the conversation. Have a healthy conversation. It's not okay to keep doing other people's work. Now, if they sick and out, okay. But if they at work and ain't doing their work, first of all, you not paying me to do your work. Now, am I on subcontract to do this work? Have you had an agreement with me that you're going to pay me to do your work? Now, if you ain't paying me to do your work, I'm not going to be able to keep doing your work. Yeah. I had to learn it the hard way, by the way. I'm speaking on it because I had to learn it the hard way. Doing other people, yeah. Mine was not so much at the workspace doing other people's work. Mine was when I was in school, like being that person that keep the group together. But I understand more now about that. So I want to challenge you. If you are covering for somebody else in the workspace and you're not on subcontract to do their work, ma'am, What would you tell your young person, your child who's starting out in their career and they came to you with that? What conversation would you have with them? Just reflect on that. Just think about that. So, y'all, let's keep going into this E of the rest framework. The R is release the weight in order to regulate the rhythm, in order to regulate the beat. If you don't release some of the weight, your heart is going to continue to be taxed. There is so much that we're carrying that we were never intended to carry. The E, establish rhythms. How many of y'all have a morning rhythm? My morning rhythm is I drink warm lemon water in the morning. I do some soft meditation. I read my word. I am still. I do some brief stretching. I have a rhythm in the morning before I start my day. If you don't have a rhythm and you get up on the go, your nervous system functions in a on the go state. You want to create a morning rhythm and you want to create, y'all know I'm big about that evening rhythm. There is something to be said when you power off those devices, when you establish whether you listen to instrumental music without the words at night before you lay it down, whether you listen to, some people like to listen to like thunder and lightning and rain and water, whatever it is that bring the day off you. Because if you don't bring the day off you, you're going to go to bed and your mind is constantly going. What's the whatever if you turn the TV off and lay down without having a separation from your devices, the last thing that you read or listen to is going to stay in your mind continuously. When does your mind shut down and be able to have that separation? Your heart loves a good rhythm. It is in rhythm. But when your life is chaotic and you're on the go all the time, your heart suffers. And it's not a good thing. So it's not so much about establishing a schedule, it's about signaling your brain that it's safe. It is safe for me to lay down. It is safe for me to step away. Your body has to know that it is safe for me to come down off this high. Some of us watch TV, all these shows late at night that keep you up, all these anxieties. May I submit to you to turn the TV off about an hour before you lay down? May I submit to you to power off your devices about an hour before you lay down? Drink you some warm lemon water or just a bottle of water, room temperature. I know people don't like room temperature water, but drink you some room temperature water before you lay down at night. And when you wake up in the morning, before you grab your coffee, before you grab your tea, either some warm lemon water or some regular room temperature water. And so throughout the day, you're carrying so much. But if we've not established these rhythms, a 5-minute pause before you start today. Everybody don't have 30 minutes to meditate. We just don't. People just don't. People have responsibilities. They got to get up and go. But if I can submit to you to carve out 5 to 10 minutes just for that quiet time, people say they're too busy. But I say it every week. You can look well enough to live and be sick enough to die. And that's what we don't want. I don't want you looking well, performing well at work, performing well in your social groups, and around here's blood pressure through the roof, and you have no idea because you the go-to person. Again, the go-to person has to have somebody to go to, has to have a rhythm to go to. So when you're thinking about establishing your rhythms, don't complicate it. You don't need 10 things. Get 1 or 2 things to start with and build on it. 1 or 2 things. One thing to start with. That one thing is when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to pause before I pick up my phone. I'm just going to sit still. Matter of fact, start practicing in late April, early May. I'm going to start doing some breath work experiences with you all because throughout the day, that is what helps me to regulate my nervous system. And that is breath work. I anchor my day in breath work. It's not expansive. I do box breathing, the count of 4. Inhale and exhale for the count of 4. and so, or a count of 6 or 8 on my exhale. But I'm going to be teaching you all about breath work so that you can start to have practical things that you can do to help you to regulate your nervous system on a daily basis, help you to have solid rhythms every day. And so I want you to think about something, some way to anchor your rhythm, creating a morning rhythm, creating an evening rhythm, and then just pick one thing. Pick one thing and apply it like it's a prescription. Y'all know the doctor give you a prescription. Y'all gonna take the medications. And I want you to take your medications. But I also want you to start incorporating these lifestyle interventions for your lifestyle to change. Type that in the comment. My lifestyle intervention is what's going to help my lifestyle to change. Pills, powders, and procedures then get your heart out of whack. It's the things that we're doing. We're taxating our hearts. We're taxating our minds. It's not the pills, powders, and procedures. You better take your I encourage you to take your medications, but I also encourage you to learn how to rest, to learn how to do practical things to help work with that, not against it. So, with a 5-minute routine, not 30, all you 5-minute routine. If you don't have 5 minutes, do 60 seconds. Start where you are, and then I want you to build from there, right? Before I go into the S of the rest framework and the T of the rest framework, we're going to take a little information break. For those that don't know, I'm sharing a few announcements. Just pause and take down these announcements. I will be speaking at the 2026 BCI Conference and Awards in Chicago, Illinois this summer. The conference is a 4-day experience. And if you've been following me, if you want to hear me live and in person on the stage, make sure you get .com. If you use code Regina L, you get $50 off your ticket. Honey, what 4-day conference will you go to? Use my code, you make that thing 99, right? So I'm inviting you into that space to meet me in Chicago this summer. If you can't meet me, I am also inviting you to support my stage presence by purchasing a ticket for the conference, and let me know that you purchase the ticket. Say, Coach Regina, I can't go. However, I want to bless somebody else. Then on my show, I will give away the ticket and list and share you as a sponsor. And so I'm looking for supporters as I get ready to travel to Chicago this summer. I've been quite a few places. Last weekend, I was in New Orleans at a health event, at a heart health event. We cannot stop having these conversations. And so I'm moving across the nation, y'all, and I'm going to be carrying this message forward. 1, if it's preventable, then it's reversible. 2, diet over DNA. And 3, my third recovery for you. We're here to cover the recovery. The 25th conference, y'all, it's a full award. Seeing awards. People have been nominated for awards. Celebrity influencer basketball game, a comedy show, and worship. So it's an all-encompassing experience. So you're not just going to be in workshops and sessions all day long. No, it's a 4-day experience to help us to understand as believers, we have a message to carry forward, and we can do it in a way that's fun and it's loving. And guess what? Ain't nothing stuffy about being a Christian, being a follower of Jesus. We got to go after the people, and we got to go after the health. So much for my commercial break. One more thing. Make sure you pull up next Thursday, 90.1 My Health, My Mississippi, 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. I will be co-hosting the show with Uncle Charles Smith right there out of Jackson, Mississippi. So I will be live in the studio on 90.1 co-hosting My Health, My Mississippi. Let's get back into this rest framework. Thank y'all for taking in that information. Support the BCI conference, founded for us by us. Jackie Horbrook with BCI. She believes that the kingdom, the kingdom, not all these things that you see, this fast twitch and this what is the word, going viral. But God has given you a message, and in order for you to take up your assignment, you got to be well. You got to be well. So that I pull up so that you can be well. Dr. Rice pull up so that you can be well. The Teddy MD pull up so that you can be well. We don't want you out here listening to stuff that's counterproductive to your health, or just listen to it because it's on. Yeah, nothing against TikTok. I'm just saying, get the facts. Let's get back into this conversation. So we talked about the R, releasing the weight. We talked about the E, establishing your rhythms. Let's talk about this S. Type in the comments. Surrender the outcomes. Surrender the outcomes. What are you talking about? When we start to release the weight, I want you to understand that there is a process, right? Releasing the outcomes while you stay faithful to the process. So you don't just, keep worrying about what's going to happen. That's counterproductive, and keep your cortisol on the rise. Surrender the outcomes. Cortisol is an illusion that creates chronic inflammation. You're wondering why. Let me tell you how chronic inflammation causes gut issues, causes gut health issues. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tad MD. But when you have chronic inflammation, you have gut issues. When you try to stay in control of things that are outside of sovereignty, our body stays in a state of fight. Surrender is a clinical sign. I'm checking off. Turn that switch off. Turn the switch off. Turn the switch off. I remember those years ago, Paul Martin had a sermon that said, turn the tap off. Turn the switch off. So when you turn the switch off and you stop worrying, we're going to talk more about what that looks like in a more practical way. But now I want you to start thinking about some things that you need to turn the switch off. Because when you keep the switch on, you stay in a stressful state. When you stay in a stressful state, you constantly releasing cortisol, which constantly causes and increases inflammation and increases your risk for cardiovascular issues. You don't realize that your lack of rest can lead to a heart attack. You don't realize that your lack of rest, your body, when you rest at night, when you go to bed at night and really get into a place of rest, then there are some stages in your sleep, and I'm going to break that down later. There are stages in your sleep where your body starts to repair itself. There is a repair process that takes place. But if you're up all night, there's a certain time and a certain window. But if you're up all the time, your body cannot go through the repairing process. Your body cannot go through the repairing process. And so make sure, you understand that rest is important. It's not just, oh, she lazy, she trying to take these naps. No, rest is important. And so we were not designed to stay in this heightened state all day and even through the night. Y'all like to be up planning at night. Stop planning at night. Shut it down. Shut it down. Do this work and surrender the outcomes. I know it's hard not to worry, but we're going to work through that. I'm going to give you some tips, not tips. I'm going to give you information on how to create processes. Processes. 1, we got to release the weight. 2, establish rhythms. And you can expand that rhythm that you're established. Establish rhythms on your work, in your workplace. Establish rhythms with those around you in your ecosystem. And then when you release the weight, whether you delegate, whether you just say, I'm through with this, I'm not doing it no more. And then when you establish these rhythms, you start to surrender the outcomes. It may not look like the way I want it to look, but I'm taking some of this pressure off of me. Type that in the comments. I'm taking some of this pressure off of me because we carrying weight we were never meant to carry. And here is the T. Transform through truth. Type that in the comments. Release the weight is the R. Establish rhythms is the E. Surrender the outcomes. It may not look like the way you want it to look, but surrender the outcomes. And then the T. Transform through truth. What does that mean? Plain and simple. We have told ourselves and we have listened and we have taken in so much bad information. And I say bad information. We've taken in this idea and this belief that if I don't do it, it won't get done. Have you ever said that? If I don't do it, it won't get done. Or everything gonna go to hell in a handbasket if I don't have my hands on it. Or if I stop, this thing just gonna fall apart. Has that been you? Don't be pointing at your coworker because I know it's you. I know y'all high achievers. I know y'all. I got the t-shirt. I was wearing the thing like a badge of honor. But may I submit to you that the truth, that's bad information. We've been conditioned that, oh, if you don't do it, it won't be done right. Honey, type this in the comments. Your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness. Your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness. What are you talking about, Regina? I'm talking about the fact that you can, the fact that you produce with excellence, the fact that you're going to make sure it's done right, and your name is on the line. Because guess what? What you're not going to do is say that I didn't do, So your greatest strength, the fact that you can do all things, does not mean that you need to do all things. The truth is, you're more effective when you are restored. You're more effective when you are rested and restored. So we got to get in a place where we replace this hustle narrative, this burn the midnight oil narrative, to a stewardship narrative. How can I steward my energy? How can I be a better steward over what I've been entrusted to? The first thing that you've been entrusted to is your health. If you're not well, the people around you are not going to get the best of you. If you're not well, the people around you are not going to get the best of you. They're going to get what you got to give. You don't realize when you're unrested, you don't have the most clear thinking pathways. You don't. You do not respond with clarity. You just don't. You don't have the energy that it takes to make those type of decisions because you're tired. Because you're exhausted, like mentally exhausted. You have decision overload, decision fatigue, because you've been deciding on everything. You make all the decisions. What's for lunch? What's for breakfast? What time is this meeting? How long is this meeting? You determine everything. And so because you can does not mean that that is your continued assignment. Transform through the truth. The truth is you're more effective when you're rested and restored. So may I submit to you, let's get out of this hustle culture and let's think about our lives from a stewardship perspective. We're stewards over these one bodies that we have. And if this body is not rested and restored, I cannot operate in my assignment, whatever the assignment is. And so, as we come to a close this morning, I hope this has been helpful, that you can think about what is it that I need to release? How can I establish some rhythms? What do I need to surrender? Surrender and trust the outcome. And then what misinformation has been holding me back from releasing? I'm telling y'all, there's nothing wrong with accolades and doing your best. But I also want you to recognize when you're not rested, you're not giving your best. It's just impossible. You're running on fumes every day. You wake up and you're running on fumes. So if this has resonated with you, I want you to type just one piece of the framework that you're going to actually take back and apply. Are you going to start evaluating what you need to release? Are you going to establish a small rhythm? I don't need you 10 things to do. That's too much stress. Are you going to establish a small rhythm? What do you need to surrender? And what truth do you need to adopt? Because all the things that we've been telling ourselves are counter to the truth. So if you're an organization that wants to bring the rest framework to your place to help combat burnout and improve clinical health markers, because a lot of people are off work due to medical conditions that are preventable. And so if we can get in there and do some teaching, some education, then we can see what we like to call productivity shift. And if you are someone on here or in this community listening to the replay or live, my 90-day collective will be opening soon. I'm going to start enrollments for June soon. But what I'm doing for the next 2 months is giving you information to help you make a decision. Do I want to work with this person? 90-day collective, and we're talking diet over DNA. That's my signature framework. I'm going to start breaking that down for you all next month and the next 2 months. What does that look like? Diet over DNA. We got to dedicate intentional efforts in order to transform. Diet over DNA, dedicate intentional efforts to transform over DNA, doing nothing at all. If you do nothing at all, then it will look like it's your DNA, but really it's not. It is our lifestyle. So I meet you where you're having those challenges. Make sure you stay connected every Friday. I'm not here to influence you as an influencer. Oh, I want to transform your life. I'm here to fill in the gap with clinical information, health related information, so that you can make informed decisions about your life. The next move, the next best move, the next best move. So I really hope this has been helpful for you all this morning. I've enjoyed this conversation, giving you all the rest framework. If you've heard it in the past, I want you to apply it. And make sure you share this with someone who is stressed out, overwhelmed, overworked, underpaid. If you know and or love someone that has high blood pressure, at risk for high blood pressure, if they got children, if they got a spouse, if they got a partner, if they're a supervisor, CEO, or president, they need to hear this message. Because we think that we have this belief that because I am this person in this role, I can keep going at this rate. But you can't. It's okay to unplug, have a healthy rhythm, trust, surrender the outcome, and then realize what faulty information am I telling myself? Am I telling myself that's keeping me locked in to this way of thinking and believing? Thank you, Chantel. Coach Shirley helped me with my transformation. Thank you. Yeah, Chantel worked with me last year for about 2 months and has done amazing. And so I am most appreciative of those that did that 8 month. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have some testimonies. We have some testimonies of work just based on no pills, no powders, no procedures or injections. It's our lifestyle. It's our lifestyle. So as I close out this morning, again, I want to remind you to support me with the BCI conference. Make sure you pull up on 90.1. You can catch it on the radio, or you can catch it on YouTube. My Health Miami, Mississippi. I will be co-hosting next week with Charles Smith next Thursday, 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you set your notifications. I'm here live every Friday, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And when I put out content, make sure you engage with my content. Y'all, engage. If it resonates with you, if I say something, say, girl, yes, ma'am, that is the truth. So engage with my content. Not, I appreciate the likes and the comments, but also check out some of my prior content. You're going to find something that resonates with you or someone you know and or love. And my ask of you is that you share it. Before I get out of here, mark your calendars for April the 9th, and I'll remind you all of this next week, and I'll also remind you in my content. Mark your calendars for April the 9th. I will be hosting my first masterclass of 2026, Diet Over DNA. If it's preventable, then it's reversible. So if you have not been to my website, that is www.reginalacking, head over to my website, check out, my merch, No Flinch Faith. What I believe is we got to stop flinching when it comes to our health. And then also, if you did not know, I am a published author. I published a journal, Making Boss Moves, 40 Days to a More Planted You. It is a 40-day guide that leads you back to you, back to your own wellness, back to your own wholeness. And so head over to my website. I also have a couple of free downloads for you. Believe this, not that. Sometimes we have faulty belief systems. It has been my pleasure to pull up with you all this morning. Make sure you're taking our time to pause. Share my content, engage with my content if you need me. If you, I do not do one-on-one coaching anymore. My schedule no longer allows for that. Now that I partner with a couple of organizations, my schedule do not allow for one-on-one coaching, but I am making preparation for a cohort to start in June. And so for the next 2 months, I will be delivering content and master classes, getting you ready for the collective, for the Diet Over DNA collective, because it is our mission and it is our assignment to recover the recoverable. And one thing that we can do, as long as we have breath in our bodies, and that is we can recover our health, because that's the legacy we want to live. I'll say this. Oh, one last thing before I get out of here. The best gift that you can give to anybody is good health. And if you've not joined me for my 50 for 50 challenge, just jump in right where you are. I'll turn 50 April 29th, and I'm doing 50 seconds of movement or 50 minutes of movement a day, whether it's walking, running, jogging, dancing, or 50 seconds or 50 minutes of meditation. I'm inviting you to prioritize your wellness. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. Again, I am Regina Lacking, licensed clinical social worker, lifestyle behavior health specialist. I want to be able to provide the gap between where you are and where you desire to be when it comes to your health markers. You do not have to live with high blood pressure, diabetes, or if you're carrying excess weight, you do not have to continue on that pathway. And you absolutely don't have to continue on that pathway alone. It takes all the things. It takes diet, exercise. If you're on medication, it takes medication. It takes healthy relationships, and it takes resting. I will see you all next week. Make sure to share this out if any of it resonated with you, or you know someone who could benefit from better understanding the impact of rest on your cardiovascular health. I will talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks.